Alright, y'all. What's up? What's up? I'm back, and we have Kabutops, and I fucking love Kabutops. It is in my top 10 or 15 or 20 favorite Pokemon. I have a plushie sitting on my wall, with a bunch of other mons like Kingler and Crawdon and Armaldo and Clawitz. So I have like a shelf of just crustaceans, um, which I fucking love. But anyways, that is besides the point. Kabutops is the goat. I love Kabutops. Probably one of my favorite fossils. I also love Tyrantrum. Honestly, I like all of the fossils. Like all of the fossils are good, solid Pokemon. Honestly, the one that I like the least is Amistar probably, and I still like Amistar a lot. Amistar's fucking cool. So that just goes to show how high quality mons they are. But Kabutops design implies a fucking menace. I mean, look at this guy. He's a fucking horseshoe crab motherfucker with giant sized hands. Oh, I love him. So cool. So like only Gen 1 would make some shit like this. Like with the fucking anime eyes. That's my only complaint about the design. This is a Kabutops design review. Welcome, apparently. But I do wish that Kabutops kept the dark, weird eyes instead of just a generic human Gen 1 anime eyes, but I still fuck with it. Although I would like it more if its head was just like, if this was like at the top of its head and then underneath its head it had the Kabuto eyes. That would be fucking kick ass. But also maybe if the sides were maybe the same color as the legs. I don't know. Regardless, very sidetracked. There are a lot of other water rock types that I will talk about slightly or briefly rather. And Kabutops is the fastest question mark. Let me check the list. I believe he is the fastest, and he also has Swift Swim, so he's still the fastest even with abilities included. Obviously, you know, Amistar can run sturdy Shell Smash and weak armor and do all that great shit, so Amistar is the GOAT. Also, Amistar is special, and Amistar is much bulkier. So that's what Amistar has over Kabutops. It's special, it's bulkier, it has different moves, different abilities, all that great stuff. But Kabutops is just an all-out offensive monster, despite having actual usable defensive stats. Like, it's not a complete glass cannon, especially when you consider stuff like strength set, but I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Let me open up the water rock list. I know I have a list of the chats with a bunch of mons pinned and shit. Okay, there we go. So, yeah, by far the fastest. Barbaracle is the second fastest, and the rest of them are all slow. So, yeah. Kabutops is great. Oh, this is a little bit off. There we go. Very fitting abilities. So, where do I start? Kabuto, when you get it, you won't be using it for too long before it evolves, because by the time you get the fossils, it'll be pretty close to level 32. But you will have Kabutops just in time for Olivia, which is great. Really, really great. She may even have one herself, who knows. But yeah, Kabutops is great. Super powerful, super strong. But Kabuto is actually, so what I did with Kabuto is, it had 80 attack for some reason, and I was gonna keep it because, you know, like, I mean, if it had the set already, I may as well keep it. I just couldn't, for the life of me, forgive it though. Like, dude, what is this horseshoe crap? Like, I know he has these claws, but there's no way. I just don't see it. So I dropped to 67, which is much more reasonable. And in exchange, he is much, much bulkier. He actually has the same defensive stats as Kabutops, which I like the idea of, because, you know, Kabutops is kind of like they're the same, like, they're made of the same thing. You know, the only difference is that it gets way bigger, stands on two legs, and get these giant scythes. These are very drastic evolution change. But the point being, that's why Kabuto has the same defensive stats. Also because I wanted to make it viable while not making it 80 base attack. It just felt too weird. So I was like, you know what, fuck it. It was either that or it was 100, 65, and then 40 special attack. But I was like, you know, you could really use the extra boost to be better because Almanite is kind of better otherwise. So I was like, fuck it, let's give Kabuto some extra stuff. So Swift Swim for the whole line is excellent. Rain Dance is, you know, one of the first teams you get now in the hack, and that is great. You can just set up Rain or have a Drizzlemon and get Kabutops in and sweep really easily, but I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. But the point being, Kabuto can use Swift Swim really nicely. 53 base speed with Swift Swim is really quick, and you're super bulky. You can run a Violite, whatever you need. Otherwise, Battle Armor is just nice to have. Nothing crazy. It's just, oh no crits. There's not that many Ruthless moves, if any. Critical hit moves by the time you hit level 32, so it's not so much to bypass Ruthless, because that's amazing, by the way. There are a lot of Shell Armor and Battle Armor Mons that are just excellent because of the fact that they completely shit on Ruthless Mons and crit moves, which are pretty common. There's a lot of 100% crit moves and 50% crit moves that become 100% crit moves with Scope Lens. So that's great. But Battle Armor in this case is just something nice to have, because all of the other abilities I could have given Kabuto would have overlapped with the other water rocks. So for example, weak armor sturdy overlaps, sap super regenerator, multi-scale, stamina, or simple, bulletproof, strong jaw, Intimidate, Tough Calls. Those are all abilities taken up by the other Water Rock types. You know, smart people can maybe try to deduce which ones will have which based on that, but I think it's pretty obvious. Regardless, Kabuto's alright. Like, it'll be fine. You'll be totally fine using this motherfucker until 32. And when you hit 32, you become god tier. I love Kabutops. So fucking cool. I might have been a little bit of favoritism, but not too much, honestly. I mean, the stats make sense. He looks super agile, especially underwater. That's why the dex already says, like, how fucking fast he is on the water. And I know he could be more cumbersome on land. So, like, yeah, logically, like, 90 to 100 to even 105 base speed isn't that weird. But I think 108 is fitting. He looks like still pretty quick. And then in the rain, he is just incredibly fast. In fact, so fast that you don't even need to run speed investment at whatsoever. You can run literally 0 speed investment and still be very fast. So say, for example, you have a... I'm going to give you as a worst case example. Let's say you have a minus speed nature Kabutops. Alright? With 0 speed IVs and 0 speed EVs. You're still hitting 396 speed on the rain, and that's literally worst case scenario. If you run a little bit of investment, you know, 50 EVs, or 52 EVs rather, now you're at 420 speed. So my point being, there is literally no universe in which you need to run. Like, very rarely will you ever need to run speed investment on Swim Kabutops, which is really useful, because then you can invest in HP or defense or special defense, and that's really useful to have. So you can then use that to self-set up rain. You can set up rain on your own because of the newfound bulk you'll have if you're investing in your bulk. The only actual bulk buff it has is just plus 10 HP because HP is based more on size now, and, you know, Kabutops is not that tiny. It's a pretty, you know, decently, you know, 4 foot tall, small man-sized horseshoe crab monster. So that's why they have 70 HP, and then the rest of the stats are the same besides speed and attack. Attack just being just stronger because he has size for arms. I figured he could hit a little bit harder than Scyther because he's just like made of like, he's like a rocky armor versus like Scyther has like the exoskeleton, which is still hard but not as hard as Kabutops is. So that's why I figured you can hit a little harder. Also the sides just look more deadly than Scyther's. Regardless, very similar attack stats, only 2 points higher than Scyther, so not a big deal there. Move pool is excellent. I will get into that in 2 seconds, but the point being, Swift Swim is great. Under the rain, you can just fire off your Water Stab. You can fire off Aqua Jets, you can fire off Razor Shells and Liquidations and Waterfall and Surging Strikes. But that's about it. Swift Swim is very self-explanatory. You can use Swift Swim with Swords Dance, and you can also use Swift Swim with stuff like Finishing Blow to get +3 attack when you kill something. You have tons of great coverage, but I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. So, the reason for Leech Life and Strength Slap is because, actually Kabuto's already got Leech Life by Level Up and Absorb, because the dex talks about how they drain the victim's fluids and they suck their body fluids up and all this nasty, cool-ass shit. So that's why they have Strength Slap. And Strength Slap is excellent. Actually, both of these can top losses of Strength Slap. Although on Amistar, it's good because you're bulky. On Kabutops, it's good because you're fast. So you can drop their attack and heal pretty much all the way to full. So that's great under rain, that's great on regular sets, that's great in general to have. So that's really excellent. Otherwise, it's a very, like, I love Kabutops and I definitely put thought into it, but it's very self-explanatory. Like, Ruthless is just, you know, this is for slashy mons that with giant fucking blades, Scyther, and Kabutops is no exception. Scyther actually doesn't have it because Scyther doesn't have too much to abuse and I prefer having speed boosts on it, but there is another bug flying type with Ruthless, I believe. Could be wrong. Pretty sure there will be another. I can check actually. Bug flying. If not, then it's because, well, oh, there actually is one, but it's special. I remember now. Yeah, which is kind of funny. But Ruthless is not great on them because they don't have Flying Stab, because none of them make sense to learn Drill Peck. So I thought not having those stabs is kind of stinky. Regardless, Ruthless is fucking insane. 108 speed, you can run that with, obviously if you're not running in the Swift, if you're not running Swift Swim, you can run Agility, or you can run Scarf sets, where you can just, you know, be fast on your own, or you can use other speed dropping methods, whatever you need to do. And you have dual stab priority as well. Aqua Jet and Acela Rock are both priority, dual stab. So that's really good. But the beautiful thing is you have stuff like Leech Life for healing, so that's 60 base power now, but it heals all of the damage you deal, so it's 100% HP recovery. And then you have, at level 40, you get the coverage moves for Ruthless. So what Ruthless does, if you guys aren't familiar by now, which I don't know how you wouldn't be, because if you're new to this video or you're new to my stuff, then welcome. If you're just tuning in, then you guys already know what this does. It's a great ability, super powerful. All of these moves hit crit 50% of the time, and then we have a bunch of 100% critical hit rate moves. So first, I'll cover the 50% crit rate moves. So what that does is you get a 1.5 times boost to your critical hits. They become 2.25 instead of 1.5. 1.5 crit is already super powerful with 127 attack, and that's really, really, really fucking strong. But when you get the Ruthless boost in there, you are just taking the lives. It's so strong. So you have a bunch of 50% crit moves. So you have, for coverage, you have Dark, Psychic, Bug, Steel, Fighting, and Poison coverage with 50% crit rate. All of those have 50% crit rate. All of them are obviously great. Cycle Cut Knife, Slash, Exit, Laceration, Cross Chop, Cross Poison. Then you have Dual Stab with Razor Shell and Jagged Edge. All of these are 70 base power, but when they crit, they become 105 base power. And with the Ruthless boost, I believe 70 times 2.25 is like 158. 158? Yeah, I was right. 158. So that's really, really powerful. Super fucking strong. And there's no, and they also, another excellent thing about Ruthless is that it bypasses stat boosts on the opponent's side and stat drops on your side. So, for example, if you're fighting against Kabutops, you can't intimidate it. It'll crit right through the intimidate. It does not give a fuck, which is really, really devastating. That makes counterplay a lot more limiting. So you really need to be careful with what you're doing. You need to run. You either need to outspeed it, or you need to whittle it down, or you have to just tank the hits with a really bulky mon, whatever it is. You can also just slap on super effective area. So, for example, say you have a poor. Okay, that's not a good example because you're faster. Sylveon. Let's say you have a Sylveon. You can run. If let's say you know what moves they have, so they have Laceration or Cross Poison hit you super effectively. Although they probably would honestly just one-shot you anyways with Razor Shell or the Jagged Edge. If they were like adamant, they'd probably one-shot you unless you're running defense investment, in which case you should do that. But for uninvested, it'll probably one-shot. But anyways, I'm just giving a hypothetical. It cross poisons or lacerations you. All you got to do is just run the Babiri Berry or Kasib. No, Kasib is Ghost, isn't it? Kasiba's Ghost. What's Poison? I'm bugging right now. I just got back from work. I'm kind of tired. What is Poison Berry? I know it. I know it's top. Whatever. I'll Google it. I know it though. I'm gonna know it. It starts with a K. Kebia. I already got it before I had to Google it. There you go. Yeah, Kasiba's Ghost. Kebia is Poison. But this is very unrelated. But point being, any Pokemon you have can take on a Kabutops. Just run a Sashmon. It'll die, and any strong special hit will probably kill it. Super effective physical hits will probably kill it if you're strong. Although your Kabutops is customizable, so you can run a bulky Kabutops with speed, Swift Swim, and set up a Swords Dance and sweep. You know, you can do that. The AI has a hard time doing that, although they still can do that, and there probably will be. I mean, probably if there's a rain team and they have a Kabutops, their Kabutops probably won't have speed. Although it might actually run speed with Adamant because Scarfers, the AI doesn't really abuse Scarf too well, but the player, you can really make use of Scarf because you can outspeed Mons very easily with Choice Scarf and just, kill them. So I'd probably run max speed on those Swift Swim Kabutops for the AI, but regardless, this is all really tangential. Also, you have Slash upon evolution, so Ruthless isn't useless. I could also give him Focus Energy. Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't do that, actually. Just to have as the option. I mean, it's not great, but you do crit 50% of the time. So if you're running Scope Lens, Focus Energy, you crit 100% of the time. So you can use any move and crit with it. So that's something that you might want to consider. Let me actually add this to files right now. Where is I have to open everything up because I just got back. I actually finished them last night. I just wanted to record them now so I could move on and go on to Aerodactyl. Sorry guys, 2 seconds. Open. Just want to make sure I don't forget because I feel like I forget otherwise. What the? Really, man? Hack English. There we go. So, we put that as level 0 and level 32. So now you have Focus Energy upon evolution as well. Sorry, y'all. Alright, we're good. So, 50% crit moves and 100% crit become 100% with the Scope Lens. Alternatively, you could just not run a Scope Lens and crit half the time, but that is super polar. Like, you're either, like, imagine your Mon did 70 base power half the time and 158 base power the other half of the time. The average power of that move is no, I was right. Yeah, 158 because you have Ruthless. But that's really strong and all, but it's kind of inconsistent and kind of annoying. And I would rather just run Scope Lens. But of course, if you need to run like a Choice Band, then you can do that. And dude, if you get the crit with a Choice Band, oh my fucking god, it's gonna one-shot resistances with ease probably, non-bulky resistances with ease. That being said, you have a bunch of 100% critical hit rate moves as well that I have covered, but I will say them again here. So, Kabutops. On top of all these moves for coverage and stab, you have First Impression by TM, Finishing Blow by level up, Wicked Blow by level up, Surging Strikes by level up, and Stone Edge by TM. And let me tell you, Dual Stab, Surging Strikes, and Stone Edge with Ruthless is fucking nuts. There's definitely a little bit of favoritism here. I'm not gonna lie. It is powerful as hell. Obviously, counterplay is still very easy. Even using your own, it's kind of hard to get it on the field. You know, it's not that bulky. Why am I typing a Kabutops, dude? I'm very flustered right now. So these are all 100% crit hit moves. So like I said, you got the 50% rate ones here, but the 100% critical hit becomes, so you have first impression by TM is very early on, relatively speaking, and that becomes very powerful. That's 135 base power, and you can just customize that. So you're not always going to want that on your Kabutops, but when you want it, it's very useful because it's super powerful and it's priority. So all you got to do is just teach it, and then unteach it, and then teach it, and then unteach it, and repeat that cycle as much as you need to move. Choice band, first impression is great, life orb first impression is great, whatever you need to do. Tons of stuff will work. Otherwise, you have finishing blow after that later on, which is even more powerful. Sorry, weaker rather. But so what finishing blow becomes with Ruthless? So first impression is 135 base power with Ruthless. Finishing blow is 35 times 2.25. That becomes 78 base power, 79 almost 80 base power. And that is already really strong. And obviously these all crit, so they bypass that boost. So say you're trying to set up, or the opponent is setting up, or they have a bunch of stamina boost, or whatever the fuck it may be, you know, barriers, iron defenses, whatever it is. You crit right through that. Totem boost as well. You crit right through totems as well if they have defensive boosts. So that's excellent. And what finishing blow can allow you to do is to snowball really easily and get a +3 attack boost each time you kill something with it. So all you got to do is just get them on to low HP and then click finishing blow. Or if they're already weak to bug, they'll probably just die if it's like like for example, Porygon Z will die. I mean, Porygon 2 won't, but Porygon Z will die in a finishing blow for sure, you know, and you just boom, dead. A really good combination is actually first impression into finishing blow. I love those names, and I love the way to play off each other. So that's more 50% crit, 100% crit moves rather. And then, like I said, you have Wicked Blow for coverage, just because, you know, it's really nice, strong dark coverage, 120 base power, effectively, and that's before the Ruthless boost. So it's the moves are 80 base power times 2.25 becomes, I believe, 180. So Wicked Blow is a 180 base power, 90% accurate critting dark type move with Ruthless. Meanwhile, Stone Edge is stab, and the same thing. Obviously, that TM is very late game. You won't be getting it until Vast Pony Canyon. It's one of the latest TMs, with the last TM being Dragon Dance, and that TM is in Totem Komo-O's lair. But all of the TMs are available before then, and the vast majority are available before that point. Obviously, only a couple really powerful ones are available that late on Vast Pony Canyon and early early Pony Island TM shop. But yeah, first impression, finishing blow, Wicked Blow, Stone Edge, and Surging Strikes. And oh my god, dude, Surging Strikes on Kabutops is insane with Ruthless, and it's insane under the rain. So both of the abilities, Surging Strikes is god tier. You're definitely gonna want that on your Kabutops for sure. The only downside being the accuracy, but you can always just run a wide lens, because you could do that with all three of these moves. You can run wide lens Kabutops with Surging Strikes, Wicked Blow, Stone Edge, and one of these two moves, or U-turn, or whatever, you know, whatever utility move you want, Swords Dance, whatever the fuck it is, doesn't matter, you know, Freeze Slide, coverage move, etc. But Surging Strikes is so powerful. You can't use Focus Sash against, you can't use Partial Berry against it, because it hits 3 times, it'll bypass it. You can't stat boost, you can't intimidate it. But the counterplay is very hard. Really, all you have to do is either take the hits, or like with, you know, with an immunity, like a Water Absorb type Mon, Dry Skin Mon, or just take it with a really strong resist, or there's counterplay. Like, you can always be smart with the way you are doing things. And of course, any decently fast Mon can outspeed it with a Scarf, or you can just use priority of your own. Sucker Punch, First Impression, Shockwave via TM, via Tutor rather, is 55 base power plus 2 priority. That outspeeds Kabutops and will kill it. If you run a Spec Shockwave on even any relatively strong special attacker, will probably kill it. So, you know, obviously unless they're running investment, bulk investment. But that's that. Then you have regular stuff like Rock Wrecker is -2 attack, very powerful early on. Level 52 was really early for that move, because, you know, you have Jagged Edge, so you kind of... Oh, another really cool thing you can do actually is Rock Wrecker lowers your attack by 2, and also post game Superpower, which lowers your attack by 2, and Giga Impact will lower your attack by 2. But you can actually bypass that attack drop by then using a crit move on the second turn. So you can use Rock Wrecker into Stone Edge or something. I don't know why you would, because I'm pretty sure... I mean, I guess for the accuracy, but I believe Rock Wrecker, Stone Edge is much more powerful with Ruthless. Yeah, Stone Edge is much more powerful with Ruthless. But you could run a Swift Swim set, for example, with that. You could run a Swift Swim set with Rock Wrecker and Stone Edge or something, or Rock Wrecker and any crit move, really. That's really awesome to have. Again, you have Leech Life for recovery. Strength Sap is great utility on it. Really, really good, underrated move on it. Obviously, you want all of the coverage, you want all the offensive moves, but it's definitely worth justifying, especially because of how early on it learns it. So you can use that to set up really easily. You can use that for good utility. They also have utility with stuff, like I said, Swords Dance, Stealth Rock, you know, Taunt, Parting Shot, Toxic Spikes, the regular general stuff that they usually get. U-turn, knockoff. I mean, that's also strong coverage and whatnot, but it's good for that. You have grass type coverage with Solar Blade as well. Under rain, obviously, under sun rather. You wouldn't want to run Kabutops in the sun, but it's definitely something you could try doing. You could also run Power Herb with Solar Blade to, like, for example, if there's like a dry skin water ground type and you can't break through it, you can run. If you're smart, you'll run Power Herb, Solar Blade for a sweep set, or you want, you know, Swords Dance, Power Herb, Solar Blade with Stone Edge, Surging Strikes. Boom. You know, now you bypass their dry skin, Swamp or whatever the fuck Mon it is, and boom, you're big chill in there. So that's great. Waterfall is water type close combat and has a 30% flinch rate. So it actually has an added effect, and it's more accurate than Surging Strikes, and it's more powerful when you don't factor in Ruthless. So on Swift Swim sets, you're going to want Waterfall, although the ability to keep Surging Strikes and have it for both your abilities is overall better, so that's why it's 10 levels before, and that's why Waterfall is so much earlier than Surging Strikes. Really not too much else to cover for these guys. I mean, you got the dual step priority, like I said, you got all this utility, you got super strong shit. I love Kabutops, man. Not too much else to talk about. This was a quick one because it's very straightforward. Doesn't make it bad, it's just not a lot to talk about. Again, bulky sets are viable. Swift Swim, bulky sets are good. Iron Defense could be okay. Rock Polish is good with this Rock Polish. What that does is it boosts your speed by 2 still, but it gives you a +1 accuracy boost. So you can use Rock Polish in conjunction with Surging Strikes and Stone Edge and Wicked Blow, which are all 90% accurate, and Gunk Shot, which is 90% accurate. Although that's not a crit move, it's still great. Great coverage, rather. And those are all inaccurate moves that become 100% accurate. Or you could just run Wide Lens and never miss because it's a 15% accuracy boost now, so you won't miss with Wide Lens. Got close combat for coverage. You have fighting coverage, like I said. So basically, you have Dark, Psychic, Bug, Steel, Fighting, Poison, Grass with Solar Blade, and that's it. Everything else is overlapping. All these other coverage moves overlap. But those are all really. Oh, and then you have Dig. Technically, you could run Dig, although. You could, if you needed the ground move for some reason, you could run Dig, but it's not ideal. I couldn't really justify Bulldoze or Stop Me Tantrum on them. It felt too weird. They don't drill run as well. I mean, he has Sayazman. He's not like can't spin, or I don't know. I mean, obviously Kabuto with Rapid Spin. That's another cool thing, actually. Kabuto can run Rapid Spin really nicely. You can also run like Rapid Spin Swords Dance, but yeah, it's 50 base power, but you do get +2 speed now. I buffed it to +2 speed, so it's really worth using, at least early game, but then obviously you're eventually probably going to get rid of it. Like I said, you have Leech Life for utility, Skitter Smack always drops special attack, that's useful, Aqua Ring for reliable recovery, Strength Sap for even more reliable recovery, although technically it's unreliable because you might heal less in some situations if your Mon you're fighting has really low attack. You won't be getting much health, and also Strength Sap only has 3 PP, I believe. I nerfed it to 3 PP, so Aqua Ring has 5 to 8 if you use PP max, so that's another advantage. Screech for utility early game, blah blah blah. You guys get the idea. Very straightforward, very very powerful, very cool. I love Kabutops. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll be coming back soon with Aerodactyl.